You get to the gym, you're pumped, you're motivated, you grab that barbell, bend your knees, get all ready, everything tightens up, and all of a sudden, you feel a stabbing pain in your lower back. Now you're hurt, and it could take you weeks or even months to recover, which means your exercise goals are now on the back burner once again. Or you can avoid this whole scenario by watching today's video, where I'm going to discuss the 5 biggest exercise mistakes that I've seen day in and day out while training people over the last 10 years. Let's jump right in with the first biggest mistake, and that's lifting things off the ground with a curved back. Back injuries are one of the #1 injuries that people experience from exercise. Your back has a natural curve that you must maintain whenever you're exercising and whenever you're lifting weights, or anything for that matter off the ground. However, usually when people lift things off the ground, they curve their back the opposite direction, almost like they're doing a standing crunch. Their shoulders drop, their chest comes forward and compresses into their abdomen, and their back is left looking all slouched over. As they hold that barbell in that position for deadlifts or for rows or for whatever, the chance of injury to the lower back is very high because all the pressure is transferring to those lower vertebraes. Here are the instructions I always give to my clients to avoid this big problem. Big butt and big chest. What I mean is, before you come down to lift the weight off the ground, stick your butt out almost like you're really trying to get it noticed. At the same time, stick your chest out in a very exaggerated way. That's what I mean when I say big chest and big butt. Then bend down and grab the weight from that position. That arc that you create by sticking your chest out and sticking your butt out, that's what you want to maintain throughout the entire exercise. So the whole time, you want to try to see your chest in the mirror. By maintaining this natural lumbar curve, you're going to avoid injuries whenever doing a bent over exercise. Next big mistake is with squats. I don't care if you don't like doing squats as an exercise, which you should, but everybody squats at least once a day. So you should learn the right way to do it to avoid injuries. The #1 mistake people make when lowering themselves for a squat is they come up on their toes and their knees, and they go way past their toe line. Usually this is because people are trying to keep their back perfectly straight during the squat. They think that that's correct form, when it's not. If you were to ask any one of these people to sit down in a chair, they would never sit down the same way that they incorrectly do their squats. They would do a perfect squat into the chair. So whenever you squat, sit back on your heels. You'll know that you're doing it right when you're able to tap your toes up and down while performing the squat. You want to sit back on your heels and sit your butt back while keeping your chest up facing the mirror. And your back, you want to maintain that natural curve that we were talking about earlier. Again, stick your butt out, stick your chest out, sit back on your heels, and sit back. It's totally fine to bend your lower back to balance out the squat. In fact, that's part of the movement. Just make sure you keep that big chest. Now, like I said earlier, a really easy way to start performing squats correctly is by starting with a chair or a bench behind your butt, and literally, I just want you to sit down and stand up. Don't think about squat down and stand up because then you're gonna do it wrong. Literally, sit on the chair and stand back up. It'll teach you how to do a proper squat. Moving on, we have the chest presses. Whether it be dumbbell or barbell, people are making mistakes. The major mistake that I see, especially beginners making with the chest press, is not flaring the elbows out. When you come down for your chest press, your elbows should be at a 45-degree angle from your body. You don't want them too far flared out because that's going to put extra unnecessary pressure on your shoulder joint, and you also don't want them squeezed in too tight to your body. Usually the mistake that beginners make is the latter. They squeeze their elbows too tight to their body, and they end up doing a chest press that doesn't really involve their chest much at all. Instead, they're using mostly the front part of their shoulder, the anterior deltoid, and their triceps. Usually this bad form goes hand in hand with the wrists that are hyperextended, meaning that they're bent too far back. Now, the best advice for this situation is to drop the weight and to retrain the pattern for your pressing. Beginners will typically have a lot stronger shoulders and triceps than their chest. That's why they end up overusing those muscles instead of the chest during the movement. Again, we're aiming for 45-degree angles and neutral wrists. Neutral, not hyperextended. Next on the list is the standing overhead press, or the standing military press. The mistake that you're making is arcing your back too far out when doing the overhead presses. This puts pressure on the top part of your back next to your cervical vertebrae and your lower back next to the lumbar region. And it acts in a way where the top part and the bottom part is trying to almost fold together, putting all the vertebrae in between, especially in the middle part of your lower back. It puts them under a lot of pressure, and this can once again lead to a back injury. A lot of times the problem is not due to a lack of core strength, even though a lack of core strength could very much be the problem. So make sure that you rule that out by strengthening your core. The bigger, more common problem tends to be a lack of range of motion in the shoulder joints. A great way to test out your shoulder mobility is by standing with your back against a flat surface like a wall with no weight in your arms. You're going to place your arms against that same wall in a shoulder press position. Then you're going to start working your hands up over your head while trying to keep your entire back against the wall. If you notice that your back starts to curve up off the wall midway through your press, then you have shoulder mobility issues. The issue stems from a chest that's too tight pulling your shoulders forward and even tighter lats pulling your shoulders down. A great stretch for your lats is just to hang on the pull-up bar. Another great stretch is done by holding onto a stationary barbell with your elbows straight out while bowing down your upper body. A great stretch for your chest is done by finding a doorway to put your elbows against at a 90-degree angle from your body and leaning through that doorway. Until you get full shoulder mobility, I would stay away from standing overhead presses because you can very easily hurt your lower back. And the very last exercise that some people just don't seem to understand is wrong is the behind the head presses and pull downs. Back in 2008, I spoke to my personal training manager at the time who recently won the Mr. New Jersey bodybuilding competition. And he told me that there is no mechanical advantage to going behind the head for any of your exercises. Not only does it increase the risk of injury, but it can also be more of a disadvantage than anything. Sure enough, after doing some research, I found out that he was 100% correct, and I never did another exercise behind my head. Ever again. Ever. When you lift weight behind your head, you externally rotate your shoulders past the point that they're supposed to be loaded with weight. Right away, this can lead to a shoulder injury, but that's not all. Due to the fact that most people have poor shoulder mobility, like I just talked about, you wind up curving your back out in an attempt to get the weight behind your head. This once again increases the chances of a lower back injury. Now, normally when someone would say, well, if this exercise doesn't bother me and it bothers you, then you shouldn't do it, but I'm gonna keep doing it. Normally when someone would say that, honestly, I would agree, but no. Not in this situation. See, the problem is that by going behind your head, you're taking a mechanically disadvantageous position, meaning you won't have the same power that you would have had if you just kept your arms in front of your head to begin with. This translates to you using significantly less weight than what you'd be able to do if you just kept your arms in front of your head, meaning you're going to be building less strength and less muscle over time. But hey, if you want to look cool while doing an exercise wrong, then by all means, have at it. That's it, guys. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you subscribe to this channel. And also, right now I'm running a free 6-week challenge where all you have to do to get it for free is actually commit to sticking to the plan. And most of my clients are losing either a minimum of 20 pounds or 5% body fat in 6 short weeks. You get a meal plan, a workout plan, and most importantly, a coach that will check in with you every single week. And again, follow the plan and you get it for free. Crazy deal. Click the link below and that'll take you straight there. What are you waiting for? Seriously, click that link. This challenge will completely change your life. The website is gravitytransformation.com. I'll see you guys soon. Pump it.